professionally, if you brought this coin into me, I would not buy it. I mean, it is pretty interesting, but if brought into my office, my immediate reaction would most likely be melt. They will take advantage of you if you're not aware and you don't do these things. Where the real value comes from is the actual paper itself. My name is Jeff, and I've been a coin dealer for over 10 years. I've been to almost 100 different coin shows all around the world, and here's some of my expertise on a handful of collections that have been found recently. So this one is really spectacular because this person online claims to have gotten all of this for $150. And if you're familiar with silver right now, it peaked at around like $38. It's around like $35 right now. So 150 bucks. I mean, you're really just talking about what, 5 or 6 1-ounce pieces. And if you look in the top left-hand corner, you'll see, what is that, 7, 8, 9 right there. So that alone is worth right around $270, $280. So just those 9 silver bars in the top left-hand corner pays for all of it. The rest of it is just gonna be money in pocket. Now, if we were to go over this a little bit, you're gonna see Morgans, Walking Liberties, and a bunch of other stuff. The key thing to remember here is 1964. So all dimes, quarters, and half dollars, right, and technically dollars, minted before 1964, are silver, or 90% silver, right? Even the Morgan silver dollars have a 0.7734 silver weight value, so about 3/4 of an ounce of actual silver in those products. Most of these look very circular, what we would consider call condition, so they beat ones that have been hit by a train, but that's about it. So they would mainly just come with a silver or melt value. Now, if you do have some key dates or mint marks in there, which is usually highly unlikely, but does happen, those would obviously bring a substantial more value. And like I said before, if it reaches over 100 or a couple $100, especially at the value that he got this at, you're gonna wanna get it graded and you wanna get every bang for your buck. Now, the stuff at the bottom, that's more European stuff. It looks like it's more modern stuff as well. And the same rule of thumb for 1964 in America kind of transfers to other countries around the world as well. If it's before 1964 for dime, quarter, and half dollar, usually they're silver, but these look like they're more modern style, so they're just going to be spending money. So usually I recommend you to take that to some coin exchange, airport, or a mall, and just have them transfer that into USD for you. And I didn't even realize, in that $150 state, it says they have one $5 gold Liberty. Yeah, which, if that's real, that's, I mean, gold was $20 an ounce. That'd be 1/4 of an ounce of gold. So gold at $3,400 right now, you're looking at almost $800, 850 bucks, just in that one coin. So, I mean, I'm not sure how they got this, but this is a huge win. King of Jordan gifted coin.
This is pretty weird. This is pretty interesting.
I mean, it is pretty interesting, but if brought into my office, my immediate reaction or knee-jerk reaction would most likely be melt, just because right off the bat, that's, you know, what you see is what you get. But you got to learn to not go with your knee-jerk reaction, because something in this stance is a really rare commemorative coin, which I believe there's less than 100 of them that were even minted or handed out as personal gifts. So something like this would take a lot more historical knowledge or a simple ChatGPT search to be able to pull up what it has gone for in the past, what kind of metal it's made out of, how much of the composition of the metal that's in it. My rule of thumb, if it's worth over a couple $100, right, you always want to advise to send it off to get certified and to get graded, because, you know, there are a lot of fakes out there, there are a lot of remakes out there. So the number one thing as a coin dealer that we always advise, if it's worth it to send it in to get graded, get it graded.
Do you think like something like this, since it's in its original packaging, would you still want to get that graded even with the original box?
100%. Even with modern coins today, like for example, the Eagle Privy that just got released, you're going to want to keep the original box and paperwork, but you're going to want to get it certified. And when most people buy the Mint State 70 certification, their number one question online is, does this come with OG box and paper? So great question. The answer is yes. Still going to want to get it graded if it has that value there. You're going to get the biggest bang for your buck if it's certified. On to the next.
On to the next.
Receiving some coins back. All right, let's go. I'm watching this live for the first time. They're opening this up. It looks like graded material. All right, PCGS, so I know we're on a good note here. PCGS or NGC, those are top two. So we got 2 PCGS coins here. Let's see here. All right, so these are pesos. So this is way out of my league, right? I'll be the first one to admit it. I specialize in Americana and American coins. But luckily for this collector, oh, it looks like they have some a yen as well. So, you know, a peso and a yen, right? 2 different parts of the country. But the best part about this, they're certified. This is super easy. Go to PCGS.com, you plug in the last, right after the / you plug in all those numbers into CERT. It'll bring up everything about the coin, everything that you need to learn about the coin. It'll bring up if there's auction records in the past. It'll show you if there's one selling before. And because it has that magical numerical grade, you can literally scale across their grading platform and see, have one's auctioned before, do they have a price guide for this coin? And you can really get a good idea of where the retail is, right? And where the wholesale is, which is auction pricing, etc. Most high-end dealers, this is great to see because it makes your job easier. For the seller, this is better for you because it allows you to come in with a chip on your shoulder because you do have the actual numismatic grade, you do have all of the auction results, and you do have all the information to back it up, so you can be an intelligent seller when you're bringing this to dealers. There are a lot of unscrupulous dealers as well as shops out there, and unfortunately pawn shops that people bring their rare coins to. So they will take advantage of you if you're not aware and you don't do these things to make sure to safeguard yourself. So, or just message us, call us, DM us on any platform. We're those ethical dealers. We'll give you all the information, or skip us all together and just ChatGPT it. It'll make your life a little bit simpler.
I think there's definitely something to say there about acknowledging when you don't know something about a coin, but knowing how to find out about it.
Exactly, and that's one reason why I recommend the Red Book. Like there's, I really doubt that most numismatists know every coin in the Red Book. Like especially every date, every key date, every mint mark. Like sure, you know the top 100, top 10. Sure, you specialize in a certain spec, but learning how to read the books is most important, because I can find any of the American coins by just learning how to research the books. I can't tell you how many people come in here and they're like, I saw this on the internet. Like, did you see it in the book? Right? Is the only place you saw it for is one place on the internet? Like, you're gonna waste a lot of time going to dealer to get told that, like, no, that's not correct. So next up is this beautiful Draped bust from 1803.
It's worth mentioning this is a metal detector find.
This is a metal detector find, which does happen quite frequently. You find stuff like this all of the time. So even though I specialize in Americana, right, as I said before, handy dandy Red Book. So you're gonna open this bad boy up, right? You're gonna go to large cents, which is pretty simple. And then you're just gonna date back to 1803. Because the 1803 is the third year of issue, right? And they have a wide range of different types of die strikes on this particular coin. So not even being an expert, if you know how to just find this page in the Red Book, it'll help you find what type of variety your coin is. And why is that important? Well, if you look at 1803, you realize that a small date and small fraction is a $75 coin, which is pretty crazy in worse condition, which that's what this one would be. I mean, if not damaged, it's in pretty rough condition. And what's crazy about this coin though, is if it's a large date, small fraction, right? Same coin, just a different die that struck these coins, it's worth $4,400 in the same condition. So it's worth it knowing the book, right? It's worth it being able to find it out. And you don't need the internet for something like this, because it really just gives you all the images. This is, an easy book to get on Amazon. The books go for like $15 to $20. So the next one's absolutely gorgeous, right? Unfortunately, I hear this story all of the time. Someone passes away and they're left a coin and they want to request or know a value. Now this one right here, you can see right off the bat, it's a $10 coin. I'm gonna assume that this is an Indian version. Do we have the front of this image? He wants me to click hyperlinks here.
I do want you to click hyperlinks.
He doesn't provide me with all the stuff. Ah, see, I was right. Right, so just looking at the reverse of this coin, it is an Indian version of these. What a lot of people don't know with American coins is there's really two types of coins that the United States made. There's the Liberty version, and then there's the Indian version. And when you're looking at $1, you have the type 1 and type 3, which is the Liberty, and the type 2, which is an Indian princess. Then the 2.5 and 5s are very easy because they made the Liberty heads, and then the very recognizable in-keys design Indian, which they only made for the 2.5 and the $5. And then the $10, you have the Liberty design, and you have this Indian version, which is the headdress Indian. This one in particular, kind of like the $1, where you have the Indian princess and then the headdress Indian. Those are unique to their denomination. They didn't make this in any other denomination, and they only made it for that particular set of times. And then the $20, which is considered the most beautiful coin in the world, the St. Gaudens, that would be considered the Indian variety, where you had the Liberty double eagle. So it's usually before 1904, 1907, and the early 1800s, you have the Liberties. And then in the early 1900s, during World War I, World War II, and the Great Depression is when we started making the Indian varieties. This one would be one of those. So when you get get a good eye, you can kind of tell that from the back of the coin right away.
This one is actually quite a rare coin. It's a wire rim.
Well, there you go. So these were made between 1907 and 1933. Now, when you bring something like this in, you're going to see 1907 right off the bat. So when we come in here, we're going to look and we're going to go, oh, wow. 1907, they only had a wired rim, which is $21,000 in the worst condition. Or they had a round rim, right, which was $48,000. Or they had a no motto, which was $1,700. So now you're really starting to get an idea of A, why you need the red book, and then B, why you must get these coins certified before you bring them anywhere, right? Because if you bring this coin to an unscrupulous dealer, you're getting $1,700 for it every day of the week, right? I almost wish we had this coin so we can go to 10 dealers and bring it in. I don't know, maybe have my mom bring it into the dealers and see which dealers gave real advice and which dealers don't. Ding, ding, that might be a new video idea. But on another note, this is why this is so important. Professionally, if you brought this coin into me, I would not buy it, right? I would only recommend or help facilitate you sending this off to get certified, right? Because, right, the difference between $1,700 and $48,000 for worst graded condition. And what's really crazy about this is, you know, just from the worst condition to mint state condition is the difference between $48,000 and $102,000. So even more so, wouldn't you agree? It's worth the 50 to 100 bucks to get certified to figure this out? I don't know. Leave your comments below and let me know. So this one's pretty interesting. This is just a knock for nostalgia, right? This is the McDonald's roll. They did something like this back in the 1950s when they were really trying to do the OG era of McDonald's, where they're trying to get foot traffic and really just trying to expand across America. And you got to remember, this is about 75 years ago that something like this would have been done. A whole different time period, before social media, before the internet, before phones. They really had to come up with unique ideas to really get people in the door. So this was one of them. It was the same thing as getting like a little gift in your package today, or getting like, you know, what my son picked up in a Happy Meal, which was a toothless gift with a little, you know, How to Train a Dragon. This would have been the same concept, but in 1955. Now, what's really cool about this is that the coins inside of the rolls probably have no value over the fact that they are a penny, even though that this person that found this one did open it up and say they found a couple steel cents, but are only worth a couple dollars anyways. Where the real value comes from is the actual paper itself. Doing a little research online, you can figure out that these have sold for anywhere between like $80 to $150, depending on how well the roll still looks. And mainly it's a collector roll. People that want to collect, right, the nostalgia of the moment over the coin. This would be one of those situations where the coins inside of them really have no value, but the packaging itself have value. If you could imagine a penny roll from, you know, 1950s, which is 75 years old, it's very unlikely for something like this to exist. So honestly, as a dealer, I'm a little surprised that these don't go for a little bit more money. I haven't looked too much into this, so I don't know how many of them really exist out there, which are obviously going to affect the price a little bit, but I think this is pretty cool. It has a really cool historical tie to America, since McDonald's is a massive American franchise. Well, I would say one of the largest franchise in the world. So, you know, this is a show of American dominance. This is America. This is McDonald's. These are the original golden arches. So having something like this, I think, price be damned, is a cool cornerstone of any collection.
Sounds like you want one.
Honestly, if someone brought it into me, I would pay the $100, and we would probably seal it in some silicone, like I have the $2 bill, and it would sit on my desk as a gift. This is just cool. So it's just one of those things where even as a dealer, you know, it doesn't need to be thousands and thousands of dollars to put a smile on my face. It is pretty cool. Hey, and if you can, do me a solid, right? If you like this content, if you like this footage, like and subscribe for more. It really does help us out and put us out there.